Amhara region has huge potential for fish farming. The second largest lake in Africa, Lake Tana, could be a massive fish production site. However, most people cannot afford to buy fish. The price is high, the product is scarce. What it takes to make Lake Tana a thriving fish farming lake in the region. Hello viewers, you're watching Amico English Messenger program. Today we want to discuss on the questions what it takes to make Lake Tana a thriving fish farming lake in the region. For this, I have a guest from Bahar Dar University, Dr. Gashaw Tilahun. I'm Brahan Workana, producer of the program. Do stay with Amhara Media Corporation English Service. Dr. Gashaw Tilahun, thank you very much for coming to our studio to give us a brief explanation about what has to be done to make Lake Tana a thriving fish farming lake in Amhara region. Ethiopia is water tour of East Africa.
Obviously.
We have many rivers, we have many lakes, we have ponds, and also we have many dams that are constructed for many purposes. And also at the same time, Lake Tana, the second largest lake in Africa, is also a source of many kinds of biodiversities, including aquatic animals like fish. Therefore, how is Lake Tana suitable for fish farming?
Just for fish farming, we need water resources. The other is climatic condition, and the other is, the geographical condition that may be comfortable for marketing. Okay. Once the fish is produced, it has to be sold. So, geographical condition, climatic condition, water resource are good in our area, especially in Amhara region. Okay. So these things are really make suitable fish farming in Amhara region or around Lake Tana, But the technology, the human resource, and others are not really available, so that our fish farming is not really in a good condition.
Okay. For instance, if we get the chance to go around Lake Tana, we can get many people depend their own life by fishing on the lake.
Exactly.
Therefore, these people are always striving to lead their own life by fishing purpose from Lake Tana. Therefore, what makes the fishing activity on Lake Tana unique?
Actually, now we are talking about the capture fishery. There are two ways of fish production. One is the capture, that means catching at the wild. Okay. And the other is making domestic and then rearing, which means aquaculture. So, when we are coming to the fishing, there are two methods of fish production.
Therefore, can we say that these two kinds of fish production activities can be performed on Lake Tana?
It could be performed, yeah. It could be performed, but mainly it is the capture fishery that we are just exercising. Okay. The capture fishery, and in the future, and sometimes around Lake Tana, still aquaculture is practiced, or fish farming at small level is practiced. So now let me tell you what makes unique fishing in Lake Tana.
Lake Tana, yeah.
Yeah, there are two methods of fish production or fish catching in Lake Tana.
Okay.
One is the motorized fishing method, and the other is the traditional fishing method. The traditional fishing method is unique in Lake Tana because, it is the fishermen, especially the local people, that make their pots from papyrus and catch the fish in the lake. When they are just making their pot, the pot is made from papyrus, which is indigenous plant.
Okay.
The other is, again, this is traditional, and they maintained for longer time.
Okay.
It is ancient. It look like with that of the Egyptian
Okay.
fishing method. This tells that there is indication of interaction between the Ethiopian and that of the Egyptian. And the other again, it is cheap.
Okay.
So everybody can just afford for just collecting and making this red pot. It is said to be red pot. So these are the main things that make unique the Lake Tana fishery. Otherwise, the second type of fishing is motorized fishing. Just it is common in all the other countries, and it is really the one that mostly used to exploit the resource. That of the artificial, the artisanal or the traditional one, they are not much exploiting. It is a type of subsistence
Okay.
fishing method.
Okay, thank you very much. As we know, people living around the lake, they lead their life by catching fish from the lake.
Oh, yes.
Nowadays, Lake Tana is being threatened by natural and human-made.
Mhm.
The biodiversity of the lake is being threatened by many things, including water hyacinth. And the run of water coming from different kinds of directions, it brings different kinds of fertile soil. This fertile soil, the entrance of the fertile soil into the lake is also a great factor for the fish farming and also at the same time for the existence of the lake by itself. Therefore, in order to enhance or preserve the resource or the fish resource which is found inside the Lake Tana, what kinds of activities has to be done?
Just before I just try to mention about the protection method of the lake, let me just speak about the land cover of Lake Tana.
Okay.
Okay, it gives some highlight
Okay.
and what has to do on that things.
Okay.
When we are coming to the land cover, farming is there, agricultural farming is there,
Yes.
water body is there, but agricultural farming is very, very large,
Okay.
or it is expanded, and the water body, the wetland, the forests, the woody land, the shrub, the rangeland, settlement, and the grassland. These are the type of land cover that we see around Lake Tana. And in this area, what problems are we looking?
Okay.
That is the main thing. One, soil erosion is common.
Really, yeah.
Yes. Settlement, sedimentation is common.
Okay.
Eutrophication is common. As you said again, these invasive weeds
Yes.
like the water hyacinth, climate change, just solid wastes and others are present there as a problem.
Yeah.
So how we can just overcome that?
That is the question.
In my case, I have one project which I am just making rehabilitation
Okay.
of indigenous plants around the buffer.
The buffer.
Yeah, this is a type of.
I think there is no any kind of buffer zone around Lake Tana still.
Obviously.
That is also the great problem
Yeah,
for the
obviously.
lake
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also at the same time for the biodiversity of Lake Tana.
Ex-
That is the reason why I am asking such kind of question, to give a brief explanation about how can we preserve the biodiversity of Lake Tana, including aquatic animals like fish and its unique fish species found in the lake.
Exactly. As you said, unless we just, delineate the buffer zone around Lake Tana,
Okay.
it is very difficult to bring, a sound protection management in Lake Tana.
Okay.
So the first thing is, delineation of the buffer zone. Actually, the Lake Tana authority,
Okay.
which is led by Dr. Ayaleo,
Really?
it is his mandate to do that. not actually himself, but the government and the other concerned bodies, starting from the peasant association, has to be involved and make that delineation. That buffer zone has to be just created.
Okay.
Otherwise, very difficult. Now, if you see now, at the border of Lake Tana, there is plowing.
Yeah, there is
so
plowing.
that plowed soil is directly enter into Lake Tana. Even it is just rich in fertilizer and others. So that nutrient is really comfortable for the growing of the invasive species that we call water hyacinth.
Yeah.
So the main thing is just delineating the buffer zone.
Really?
Whatever, what we are doing is simply around Lake Tana, we are trying at a very minute element, we are trying to just plant indigenous plants.
No attention is given especially for indigenous plants, really.
Obviously. So, we have to give attention for this. The researchers, the university community, the media, the others, all we have to cooperate really just for plantation of indigenous plants around Lake Tana. I have one project for the eradication and control of water hyacinth. So we are taking this indigenous plant papyrus from Bahar Dar University, PEDA, and we are planting in Maksenyit.
Therefore, is a project that you are leading right now, especially preserving Lake Tana by planting indigenous plants around the lake, is bringing practical change nowadays? Or is it at the start?
Well, actually, that is a very, very small scale. Simply it is for showing. So the government and the other body will take that model and then expand. We are doing it simply for the sake of showing as a model. You cannot say that a lot of work is done that we can just proud on the work of rehabilitation. Very difficult. We are getting the money from Ethiopian Biotechnology Research Institute, and we are doing at a small scale level, and it is really promising.
Let me proceed to the next question.
Okay.
When we read different kinds of articles related with fish farming and also tourism, lakes very important, especially for conducting basic research. There are different kinds of biodiversities found inside the lake, including fish.
Obviously.
Therefore, what kind of activity is being performed, especially to make Lake Tana a center of research and tourism? From the expertise point of view, what can you say about this one?
Okay, just to make a center of excellence, especially in fishery, in tourism, we have to just establish, a local research center. The one that makes benefited, even benefited the local community, is the conducting of research that solves the problem of the society.
Okay.
So in this regard, as you said, we have to make Lake Tana center of research for fish and tourism. Therefore, there is something that the university has to do, and something that the government, the regional government, or the national government that has to do on these things. Bahar Dar University just it has a role to establish this or to cooperate this with the others. But Bahar Dar University they established academic unit. The academic unit that work, research and solve the local community. One of the academic community, the academic unit that I wanted to mention is the fishery and aquatic science, which I am leading.
Another thing related with this one is that still the people are catching fish traditionally.
Obviously.
There is no any kind of a modern activity being performed by, not only by university, but by concerned bodies working in the sector. People are always searching and spending their golden time finding a fish from the lake. Therefore, is there any kind of a plan, or is there any kind of activity that is very important, especially for the community, to rear fish products in ponds?
Yes, we are trying. I cannot say that we have done this, but there is a trial. One, for example, we have just prepared a proposal for fish farming center in Peda.
Okay.
It encompasses about 13 hectares,
Okay.
and really, if that is allowed, and really just enter into that activity, we can. I can say that we can bring a change. We can really have a center that we can teach our students at undergraduate level, at MSc, PhD level, and also it will be a center for the training of the fish farmers. So really, that is really one good step really for fish farming. For fish farming, maybe the municipal we are just requested to give us the land. They may just allow and give the plan. If that happens really within 1 year interval, we'll do really a very good thing that we can show for many people, including for the farmers. We are supporting fish farmers, for example, around this Mecha Woreda, Achefer Woreda, and Fogera. Just we are advising them how they are rearing, and we are trying to just supply some inputs. For example, the main challenge is fish feed.
Really?
The fish feed, it is only produced in Devrazait, and it is very expensive, and it cannot be available as fish farmers want. So in our case, at least with our project, we are trying to support some amount. And again, other inputs like aerators and others, we are trying to just give for them. That is a good start. Another is in Koga, maybe if you heard, there was one Netherlands company who started cage farming in the reservoir.
Without teaching our community how to eat the fish product and how to make a fish part of the nutrition. The projects which are working in order to help our government, especially in different kinds of projects, they may live. Therefore, awareness creation will be also one great problem why they left the project that they were working in the place that you mentioned earlier.
Yes, that's why, I continued the pilot research in that area. From that research work, from that finding, I will come to a conclusion whether that temperature is convenient or not, and then bring awareness creation, maybe if I am very successful. In fact, the trial is good, and really, we are just in the near future give a training as it is suitable and to continue on that. Fish, it is used as a source of food, as a source of income.
Really?
For recreation and for different purposes.
Really?
So we have to just do very hard on this.
What is the challenge facing the region in terms of producing fish on Lake Tana and other places found in Amhara region?
There are a lot of things to mention about the challenge of fish farming. As you said, the number of people in the area is increasing, population is increasing. They demand food, especially fish food. So this fish food has to come either from capture fishery or from aquaculture. And the capture fishery, as I told you, it is declining. So it cannot compensate the growing population. The one that can compensate this growing population is the aquaculture. But still this aquaculture is not well growing in Ethiopia. That's why it becomes expensive. One is, we have to make intensify our starting aquaculture sector.
Okay.
There is pond culturing.
Really?
Obviously, worldwide, the main fish production is pond culture. So in ours also, it is started, as I said, around just Lake Tana, in Achefer, in Mecha, in Fogara. But it is at a very small scale. It has to be just developed. The human skill,
Okay.
the input, the fish feed, the fish seed. For example, for the farmers, sometimes, they request you to bring, to supply fish seed. But we are not having that institute. Only it is the Amhara region fishery center that is trying to supply for them, but not satisfactory.
Relating this question, there is what we call it Sakota Declaration in Amhara region, especially working on stunting.
Stunting growth.
Yeah, this is because of lack of a balanced diet, nutrition diet.
Obviously.
That's why we have untapped resource. We are not using it because it has to be part of our diet. Because we have the resource. If there is no any kind of resource, we cannot talk about on this issue. The government is working, prioritizing the Sakota Declaration. And also the department, what you are leading, Fish and Wildlife at Bahar Dar University, it has also a great responsibility. And so in order to make this fish product type of food in Amhara region, is there any kind of activity being underway by the university in terms of creating awareness for our community that depend on fishing purpose around lakes, rivers, ponds, and dams found in Amhara region?
Well, one thing, we have to just go into modernized fish farming.
Yeah.
That can invite investors.
No, I will come to the point. Okay.
Okay, that can invite investors.
Okay.
And again, also, just the necessary materials should be given adequately for the fish farmers which are just commencing into this sector. As coming to your question, in our department, there is a proposal so that the Bahar Dar municipality has to supply that land.
Okay.
If that land is not really given, what can we do? What can we do? And also, investors are just asking a farming land,
Okay.
for aquaculture, but they are not provided. So the policy has really not as such promoting investors to just invest their capital in this sector.
Okay.
So the policy has to be just clear and good for investors to just engage in this sector. Incentive should be given.
Okay.
Because once you just invest your capital, the return is not coming very soon. It
Really?
takes longer time.
Yeah.
So the government has to give incentive.
For farmers.
Yeah, for the farmers, for the investors. There is really one policy regarding to fishery and aquaculture, but it has to be revised and clear.
That's the point that you're telling me. We have Lake Tana, the second largest lake in Africa. And also we have other many rivers. Even Abai, the longest river in the world, it began from Ethiopia.
Exactly.
This is also a great opportunity for us,
Obviously.
especially for producing fish in such water bodies. What other opportunities can be described in terms of producing fish in Amhara region?
Coming to the opportunity, as you said, this untapped resource will be a means for employment if just we're expanding that.
Yeah, it creates job opportunity.
Just we can get fish farmers, for example, getting income, the resource will be not overused. That means overfishing may not occur. The other opportunity might be just the available things around that. For example, the water, the land. Land is okay. It is good, but the policy, it does not allow. For example, if you wanted to invest in that area, myself, for example, I have a plan in my mind just to just do on that sector. So that is a challenge. Otherwise, it will give many things. Just as you said, it is a good source of food, especially as such protein. That malnutrition, retardedness, all these are due to lack of protein.
Therefore, still the fish farming in Amhara region, including Lake Tana, is being practiced traditionally.
Obviously.
Therefore, what has to be done to modernize the fishing sector and to benefit our community from the sector?
Well, actually, I have tried to speak earlier. Just we have to invite investors to just engage into the sector, so that modern fish farming will take place, like cage farming, like pen culture, and intensifying of pond culture itself also. So that is one thing. And again, creating integrated fish farming, especially in Fogara, there is rice farming. Very shortly, it is started, to integrate with fish farming. For your surprise, farmers are just given to divide their plots into two. One, a rice, which is just growing alone, and the other, a field that they are growing rice and fish. So in the integrated one, a large of rice production as well a large of fish production is obtained. So such type of system should be presented.
Dr. Gashaw Tilahun from Bahar Dar University, thank you very much for coming to our studio to give us a brief explanation about challenges of fish farming and opportunities in Amhara region, especially on Lake Tana, and what has to be done to modernize the sector. Dear viewers, this is all for today. Many thanks for watching. Do stay with the rest of Amhara Media Corporation programs.